So good morning all. So we have been discussing about the uh, joining processes. So in the joining processes, we have discussed about the basic philosophy of these joining processes, what is their importance, what is the need of the joining process. We have also seen the classification of the joining processes in terms of source of heat generation. So there are different type of joining processes based on the different types of heat generation, like a gas flame, electrical arc, or high energy beam. Of course, joining it is a more broad term. So welding is one of the important classification under joining. So I have also discussed that welding based processes are more popular with metals because in most of these processes, complete melting and fusion is involved. So metals, they undergo this melting and fusion in an appreciable temperature range. So in the last class, we have discussed about the gas welding processes. We have also discussed about arc welding processes. In particular, we have discussed about shielded metal arc welding process. So that is what we have discussed in this module until this slide. And if you remember, in the shielded metal arc welding process, we have discussed uh, about that the electrode which is used in the shielded metal arc welding, it is in form of a stick. So that stick or the electrode is covered with the flux coating, and during the welding process the flux basically it shields the weld pool, and also it removes the impurities from the weld pool. Those impurities, they melt and they come on the top surface of the welded metal in the form of slag, which has to be subsequently removed. Now there is a limitation with that process, that very long welds are not possible because every time the electrode is consumed, so you need to interrupt the welding process, put up a new electrode, and then continue the weld. So to overcome majorly that limitation, we have the next process, that is gas metal arc welding process. So this process is also abbreviated as GMAW. It has another name, metal inert gas welding. So before we get into the other details, I will explain how this process does the welding. So in this case, the again the electrode is consumable. So the main difference what comes here is that the electrode is not in the form of stick, but the electrode is in the form of a continuous. So this electrode is consumable, and it is in the form of a continuous wire. So it is not like a stick. So the torch in case of GMAW, it is basically in the form of this shown here. So this basically consists of three inputs. One is the electrical conductor, which will carry the current. Then we have a supply for a shielding gas. And of course, there will be the electrode which will be consumed during the welding process. Now in this process, another important thing is that we do not use flux. So flux is not used. So this is not used here because this process uses the shielding gas. So shielding gas, it is basically a mixture of inert gases like argon or helium or carbon dioxide. So either singly or mixture of these three gases or maybe two gases is used to shield the weld pool. So shielding gas, it does the same job as the flux. So it is basically shielding the region where the welding is being done. So it is shown here as the shielding gas. And of course, the arc is stuck between this consumable electrode and the workpiece. So as the arc is sustaining the this electrode is getting melted and depositing the molten metal in this welding gap. So the main difference of this gas metal arc welding compared to the shielded metal arc welding is, first important difference is the electrode is in the form of a continuous wire and is consumable. And second important difference is that this process does not use flux. Instead of flux, it uses shielding gas. So now you can understand with this configuration, it is possible to weld very long sections uninterruptedly because the wire is in the form of a continuous spool. So this I can say it is a spool of wire. So I also told that this process, it is also known as metal inert gas welding process or abbreviated as MIG welding. So in the market, you may hear MIG more popularly, but the more technical name is gas metal arc welding. So I have also mentioned that the shielding in this case is provided by the inert atmosphere provided by mixture of these three gases, or these three gases may be used as a singly they may be used, or in combination of in a mixture format. And electrode is a consumable electrode which is automatically fed through the nozzle in the welding arc. So of course videos of all the processes I have been discussing are provided to you separately in the Moodle, so you can go through the videos separately to have a more clear understanding of the process. So this is the full setup how this gas metal arc welding or MIG welding is done. So in this case, this is basically the power supply here. So power supply consists of the transformer, which will provide the voltage and current at appropriate values. And the electrode here is, I mentioned, it is a spool of wire which is shown here. So this wire is in the form of spool and it is continuously fed through this hose in this welding torch. And the supply of the shielding gas is provided by a cylinder, separate cylinder, which is a pressurized cylinder, which consists of the shielding gas like argon, carbon dioxide or helium or their mixtures, and that is also supplied through the common hose to this welding torch. And this is the trigger. Once you press the trigger, the current will pass, the electrode will pass, and the shielding gas will pass. So three things are needed in this case. And now you can understand that this process is suitable for a very continuous welds over very long sections. Another important aspect of this welding process is that this process is very suitable for automation. So what I mean by automation, that instead of a human being operator, a robot operator is doing the welding. So in that case, perhaps the since the change of electrode is not needed very frequently, so the process is very suitable to get automated for producing very complex jobs in a short period of time. And this process, it is also suitable to weld ferrous and non-ferrous metals. So both the category of metals are possible in this case. Of course, the process is quite versatile, rapid and economical. So it is a very popular welding process which is used in industry to realize different products. And another important aspect is this process is very suitable even to weld very thin sheets and is very popular in the automobile industry. So this already we have discussed. Long welds are possible without interruption because you have the continuous supply of the electrode, current is there, and of course the shielding gas is also continuously provided. So next we move to the process which is another type of a arc welding process. So this process is known as fluxed core arc welding process or abbreviated as FCAW. Now FCAW, it is again a type of an arc welding process. So again similarities with the MIG. So similarities with MIG are electrode is continuous, electrode is again provided in wire form. Okay. Again in this case, yeah, the difference here is that shielding is not done with the shielding gas. So but difference is, again, for shielding you have the application of flux. So flux is used to shield here. So what is the difference here? So here you will see that the electrode is basically hollow. So The electrode which is used here, that is hollow, and what is filled inside the electrode, so if this is the electrode section, so what is filled inside this electrode is basically the flux. So flux, it is available in the form of a granules or powders, or a very dry form of paste. So this is filled inside this hollow electrode. So electrode is hollow here. Please remember, this is not the case with other welding processes. So this hollow electrode is there, which carries the flux with it, and this flux is the electrode is in the form of a continuous wire. So this is basically when this electrode is fed in the welding arc. So the metal which is there in the electrode, which is providing the filler material in the weld zone, will get deposited in the weld zone, and this flux will basically under the high temperature of the arc will release the shielding gas, and additionally also provide the slag upon solidification. So this is the main difference between the flux core. So as the name is indicating, flux is in the core of the electrode. So that is why the name is flux core arc welding process. So this is similar to GMAW in the sense that electrode is in the form of a continuous wire. Exceptional is that electrode is a hollow, it is in the form of a tube which is filled with flux. Hence the name is flux core arc welding process. So this type of electrodes are very suitable to produce a very stable arc with improved welding contour and improved properties of the weld. So these electrodes are available in form of long coiled tubes. So this means this process is also suitable to do a very long or uninterrupted weld over a very long length, and no external shielding is required, as shielding is provided with the help of flux in this case. So I hope the difference is clear. No shielding gas, but the flux is itself cored in the electrode, which provides the shielding in this case. Again, it is very versatile with respect to different materials, specifically speaking different metals, that is category of ferrous and non-ferrous metals, because we can change the flux chemistry depending on the need, and it is also suitable to do welding in different positions using this process. Different positions, I mean vertical, horizontal, overhead. So these are the different positions in which this process can do the welding. So next, we move to the another process. Bearing this an additional point, the process can also be automated because the electrode is in the form of a continuous spool. So next important process, again a very important process in terms of welding, which is known as gas tungsten arc welding process. Now this process is different than other welding process that we have discussed, in the sense the main difference here is the electrode is a non-consumable. It is a non-consumable electrode. Until now, we have discussed about shielded metal arc welding process. We have discussed gas welding also, but specifically speaking in the arc welding, we have discussed shielded metal arc welding process. We have discussed MIG or gas tungsten arc welding process. We have discussed flux cored arc welding process. In all those three processes, we have observed the electrode is getting consumed during the welding process. Now the process at hand now is gas tungsten arc welding process. The main difference of this process compared to the other three processes is this process has a non-consumable electrode, and this electrode is made up of tungsten. So that is why the name tungsten is provided in the name. So why tungsten? So tungsten is a, if you remember in the of our beginning slides of this course, in the classification of the materials, I discussed one category as refractory metals. So refractory metals is a category of metals which have a very high melting point. So tungsten is one of that metal which has a very high melting point. So that metal is used here because it can sustain very high heat of the welding during the welding process. And basically what happens, it also is very suitable to provide a very stable arc. So this is used as the non-consumable electrode, and to provide filler material here, we have to supply the filler material in form of an external filler rod. So filler rod is externally provided here because the electrode is not getting consumed during the process. So filler rod is provided. Another important characteristic of this process is that shielding here is again provided with the help of this shielding gas. So shielding gases are there. Shielding is there with the help of the shielding gas like argon, and no flux is needed in this case also. And another important characteristic of this process is this process is very suitable for autogenous welds. Autogenous welds means even if you are welding a very thin sheet of metal where you don't want an external filler material, so even in that case autogenous welds is another characteristic of this process, that autogenous welds are possible. So these are some of the important attributes to this gas tungsten arc welding process. We'll see some more details now. So this process is also known as tungsten inert gas welding process. As the previous process was known as metal inert gas welding process, so here it is known as tungsten inert gas welding process, also abbreviated as TIG welding. So in this case, we have discussed a non-consumable electrode is used to strike the arc with the workpiece, and filler material is separately provided with the help of a filler wire or a rod. So non-consumable electrode, it results in a very stable arc at a constant current. So very good quality welds are obtained using this process. And if we closely look into the details of this gas tungsten arc welding process or TIG welding, so this is how the exact details look at. So here we have a non-consumable tungsten electrode which is striking the arc with this base material. And shielding I mentioned here is provided with the help of the shielding gas, which is provided through a pressurized cylinder. So the shielding gas, it can be again argon or carbon dioxide or mixture of this. And in this arc, we provide this filler material. So the parameters are set such that the melting is only done in the filler metal, not the electrode is generally resistant to melting because of its very high temperature. So in the inner zone of this electrical arc, the temperature is sufficient enough to melt this filler material and provide the weld metal in the welding zone or the welding gap. And shielding is done with the help of the shielding gases, so no flux is required, so no slag will be produced in this case. So shielding I mentioned is provided by helium or carbon dioxide is also used, or their mixtures. It is also capable to produce autogenous welds. This means that the no filler material may also be used in certain cases, especially when the thickness of the uh, plates is very small. And this process has a unique capability to weld very reactive non-ferrous metals like aluminium and magnesium. So these two metals are considered to be very difficult to weld because they are very reactive, especially to form oxides in the given atmospheric conditions. At the same time, these two metals, they find widespread application in high strength, lightweight structures used in different applications like automobiles or aerospace applications. So these metals or their alloys are capable to give the property of high strength at a very low weight, considering they have a very low density compared to iron. So the importance of these metals is very significant, and the welding is of course needed. So TIG process or TIG welding process is very suitable to weld these type of metals. Of course, by using the continuous supply of shielding gas, the high quality of welds are obtained with very good surface finish. So surface finish is good here because no slag is produced. So the quality of weld is exceptional. So more details about this process you can find in the video separately provided to you. So I request all of you to go through the videos of each of this process to have a more practical understanding about the process parameters in this regard. So this is about the all about the arc welding processes, where an electrical arc is used to create a source of heat, and in that electrical arc we add filler material in form of consumable electrode or non-consumable electrode. So these are like the different ways by which the welding is accomplished. So we have discussed about the gas welding process. We have discussed about the arc welding process. Now we are going to discuss about the high energy beam, high energy beam welding process. The important characteristic here is that the energy density, please pay attention here, that energy density is increasing. So as we are moving here, so energy density is increasing. So what I mean by energy density is expressed in watt per cubic millimeters. So that is the energy which can be supplied by the respective energy source in different welding processes. The common binding this common binding parameter or the characteristic is that all these three they provide a fusion. These are the fusion welding processes, means there is complete melting and solidification taking place in all these processes, and they differ in their energy density. So this means gas welding has the lowest energy density, arc welding is a medium energy density, and high energy beam are basically the highest energy density processes. Now, in high energy beam processes, one of the process is laser beam welding process, and another process is electron beam welding process. So, electron beam welding process is a slightly advanced process. So in the scope of this course, we will not be discussing about the electron beam welding process, but we will only discuss about the laser beam welding process. So laser beam welding process, it is a very versatile welding process which utilizes a laser beam to produce heating, and heating is basically subsequently used to elevate the temperature to bring it to the melting stage, and once the temperature reaches the melting stage, then the fusion of the two metals can take place and the welding can be accomplished. Before going into the details, I understand that each one of you know the full form of laser. So laser is basically expanded as light amplification by sorry, stimulated emission of radiation. So this means the laser is basically a very coherent high energy density beam, which is basically nothing. This beam consists of the photons which are there. So what is the energy source here is the photons. So these photons, they are traveling at a very high speed, and basically these photons have the ability to get absorbed whenever they interact with any given metal or the metallic surface. So these photons, once they are absorbed, so they transfer their energy to the lattice of that metal, and when the energy gets transferred, so the resultant energy of the target material or the atoms energy of the atoms of the target material, it increases and they start vibrating. That's it. That is how we observe change in phase whenever there is a laser interaction with the any metal. So laser, it is a very versatile tool in manufacturing processes. It is used at other places also, like machining, then joining it is there, sintering it is there. Of course, it is also used these days in additive manufacturing, or you call it as generically 3D printing and all. So we will see in the subsequent slides how laser beam is used to do the welding process. So laser beam welding, it utilizes a high power laser beam as the heat source to produce a fusion welding or a fusion weld. So fusion weld here indicates that there will be complete melting and solidification of the base material taking place. So beam, it is focused over a very small area with high density. So this means it has a very deep penetrating capability. So what I mean by deep penetrating capability, suppose you have a very thick plates to get welded. So this laser beam, it has the ability even to penetrate very thick sections in a very narrow zone. So the heat, in this case, what happens, the heat affected zone is very, very small. So this heat affected zone I discussed in one of the earlier slides also, heat affected zone is very small. So if the heat affected zone is small, so this means the properties of the weld will be very superior. That is why high energy density is preferred when you want a very small heat affected zone. And in the processes like gas welding, where the energy density is low, the heat affected zone is very large. So the properties may not be very good, because what happens in this heat affected zone, the grains of the material that we have been discussing, they become slightly coarse, or they become slightly big because of the heat flow, and that is why the grain structure, it gets altered here. It is of course a different structure is present in between the joint, so that basically deteriorates the properties of the weld. But in laser beam welding process, the heat affected zone is very, very small and the quality of weld is very high. So beam, it can be directly focused and it can be precisely directed at the region where the welding is to be done. And of course, to do this, we do not need manual intervention. The computer control with optics is sufficient enough to basically direct the beam over the appropriate area to do the welding process. So this is so capable that it can produce deep and narrow joints of in the width ratio of 1 is to 10. So this means even if the suppose the width here the width of the welded joint is 1 millimeter, so this can weld up to say 10 millimeter thick plates in one go, which may not be possible with other welding processes, because for arc welding processes there may be a need for a joint preparation. So effectively the joint zone will increase. So we want the any weld to be as small as possible, as minimum heat affected zone should be there as possible. So all those attributes or capabilities are present with the laser beam welding process. And laser beam welding process, it is also very versatile in terms of handling different set of metals, like ranging from aluminum, titanium to super alloys, which are of course having very high melting points. So almost all the metals are possible to get welded using this process. Of course, the process is readily automated with minimal manual intervention. So long runs are also possible here. So generally in this case, external filler material may be added or may not be added. Generally in laser welds, external filler material is not added. So the energy density is so high that sufficient molten material is produced by melting the fine surfaces and thereby accomplishing the weld. So they are the laser welds are characterized with very good mechanical strength, and or they are mostly free of porosity, because during this welding process a continuous stream of shielding gas is provided, which minimizes the formation of oxides or pores. The only downside which I can say with this laser beam welding process is high capital cost. So very often you will not commonly find a laser beam welding process being used to weld different products, but because of the one and most important reason is very high capital cost of the laser beam welding setup. So often for a very small type of a laser beam welding setup, which can say handle up to zero point 0.5 millimeter thick or say 1 millimeter thick aluminum sheets. So such a system will start costing up to rupees 50 lakh and above. And as the thickness of the base material which it can handle increases, the cost also exponentially increases. So high capital cost is the only reason why we don't find laser beam welding very popularly used in generic products. So for generic products, if you will start to look at that which welding process is used, so you will most commonly come across either gas welding or shielded metal arc welding or maybe TIG welding, MIG welding, etc. But you will not find laser beam welding so commonly used for a general products. It is used for very sophisticated products like in satellites, spacecraft, aerospace, nuclear reactors and all. But generally you will not find being used for common or domestic products. So this is a typical setup. How does it look like? So in this case, I mentioned that generally laser beam welds are sufficient to produce autogeneous welds, but of course if we need to add filler material, it adds the filler material not in form of a wire but in form of a powder. So filler material is added. If added here, it is in the form of a powder, not a rod. And of course the shielding gas is provided to minimize the oxidation, and this is how the welding is accomplished in the in this gap. What you will observe that the laser beam is providing the heating, and because of the heat the faying material is getting melted, and of course to compensate the compensate the shrinkage or compensate the, or we need to add external filler material, so then we are adding it by a separate nozzle here. So filler material is being added, and when it gets melted and solidified, the welding is accomplished. So that is how the laser beam welding process it is done. And I'll then show a very common example, that is a Gillette razor. If you have been using or you are aware of it, so all these dots that you see here are nothing but these are laser welds. So these are laser welds being provided here to these blades. So these are laser beam weld. So you can understand the process. It is so precise and accurate. It can produce so small welds, even so small, and it can produce, of course, very welds on a very large scale also. So the process capability, it ranges from that small value or like this Gillette razor blade to a very sophisticated applications like aerospace or aircraft, etc. Next, we move to the next category of the welding processes known as spot welding. So until now, we have discussed about the gas welding, then we have discussed about the arc welding, we have discussed about the laser welding. So these process, they come in the category of fusion welding processes. Next, what we are discussing is basically the solid state welding process. So solid state welding processes, they are slightly different compared to their fusion welding counterparts. So in this we have the spot welding, we have the seam welding. Of course, there are more processes like ultrasonic welding, but again we are not going in detail of this. Then we have friction welding, and we have friction uh, stir welding. So the unique characteristic of these processes under solid state welding processes is that complete melting or fusion does not take place. Complete melting, or I can say fusion, so it does not take place. So this means the process utilizes temperature slightly below the melting point. So actual melting does not take place, but it of course takes it to the semi-molten stage. So I can say in a semi-molten stage, it takes it to the semi-molten stage. One, this thing is clear. And another additional thing which these processes encompass is application of pressure, external pressure. application of external pressure is important in most of these processes. So since we are not completely melting the metals here, so to accomplish a good quality weld, to compensate the partial melting, external pressure has to be applied. So these processes are this is the main difference between the fusion welding processes that we have discussed and these solid state welding processes that we are going to discuss. Of course, since this is a level 1 course, we are not going to discuss the advanced processes under this uh, category. We will be restricting ourselves to these two common welding processes like spot welding and the seam welding process. So if I talk of spot welding process, that is the most commonly used welding process in the solid state welding category. So in this case, the heat which is required is essentially generated because of the resistance of the components which are to be joined. Uh, so resistance at the faying surface. So electrical resistance not in the component but at the faying surface or the joint where the joint has to be made at the faying surfaces is used to generate the heat, and then that heat causes the rise in temperature, taking it to a semi-molten stage, and then we apply external pressure to accomplish the weld. Now, heat generation because of electrical resistance is given by this classical equation, which I am sure each one of you is aware of, that is H is equal to I square into R into T, where I is the electrical current in amperes, R is the resistance in ohms, and T is the time for the duration for which the current is passed. So time is basically taken in seconds. So this combination of balancing the units gives us the energy generation in joules. So rise in temperature at the faying surface is also a function of the specific heat and thermal conductivity of the workpieces. So that is another factor which plays into this role of the rise in temperature at that point. And current values in this case, they are quite different than what is being commonly used in arc welding process. So if you remember, the generic range for arc welding processes was for the voltage was this, and say for current it was mostly in this range. So this was the set of parameters being used for arc welding processes. But you see here the parameters which are used in case of spot welding, they are significantly different, in which more emphasis is on the value of current. So current is of the order of 1 lakh amperes and the potential difference is very small. Now why the potential difference is small? Because in this case there is a direct contact between the electrode and the workpiece. So since there is a direct contact, we don't need a very high potential difference to push through the current through through the electrodes. So there is no gap, but there was a significant or a physical gap between the arc welding where the arc was to be sustained. So as such, in this case, no arc is there. So there is a direct contact between the electrode and the workpiece, and the current value is kept to a very high value. So why high value current is needed? Because you see this relation, higher is the value of current, more will be the heat generated in this regard. So generally what is another important aspect of this spot welding is that if there is any layer of oil, paint or oxides, they have to be sufficiently removed from the faying surface before the welding is started. And of course, these processes are readily automated with minimal operator skill. So generally, very less skill is needed. But on the contrary, if you look at arc welding, a very highly skilled person is needed to do the arc welding. Maybe it is TIG welding, MIG welding, or gas welding, or maybe other than that, the shielded metal arc welding and all. So this type of welding process is very much popularly used for sheet metallic parts. So we have discussed about formation of products with sheet metals in the forming module. Now different products from sheet metal can be made, but to assemble them in a given for a given component, they have to be joined. And when we need to join sheet metals, so the spot welding or the solid state welding processes are one of the most popularly used welding processes. And again, this is very popular with automobile industry, as a whole body of a given automobile is made up of sheets of different metals. And in a typical automobile, we can observe there may be more than 10,000 welds on an average. I'm talking just of the spot welds, not of the arc welds. So that is why it is very, very popular even with the sheet type of configuration. So I'll stop here for today, and we will discuss more about this process in the next class. I can take up now a few questions from you if you have any.